Liam stepped out of his car, the gravel crunching under his boots. A gust of wind whipped through the trees, sending a shiver down his spine. The house loomed before him, a Victorian mansion with peeling paint and boarded-up windows. It was imposing, a relic of a forgotten era. Liam took a deep breath and approached, the scent of damp earth filling his nostrils. He had inherited the house from a distant relative, a great-aunt he'd never met. The lawyer had been tight-lipped, mentioning only an unfortunate incident that had left the house abandoned for decades. Now, as Liam placed his hand on the tarnished doorknob, he felt a chill run deeper than just the autumn air. He pushed the door open, its hinges groaning in protest. The air inside was stale and heavy, thick with dust and the silence of decades. Liam stepped inside, his footsteps echoing in the vast entryway. Cobwebs clung to the ornate chandeliers and shadows danced in the faint light filtering through the grimy windows. The house felt like a tomb, a place frozen in time, and yet there was a faint energy, a hum beneath the silence, that made the hairs on Liam's arm stand on end. He took a step further, drawn deeper into the mansion's silent embrace. The floorboards creaked beneath his weight, each sound amplified in the stillness. He ran a hand along the wall, feeling the rough texture of the wallpaper, its faded patterns barely discernible in the gloom. With each step, the feeling of unease grew, a knot of apprehension tightening in Liam's stomach. He couldn't shake the feeling that he was being watched, that something in the shadows was aware of his presence. The mansion was a labyrinth of hallways and rooms, each one shrouded in dust and silence. Liam wandered through the house, his footsteps the only sound disturbing the stillness. He passed by dusty portraits with eyes that seemed to follow him, their painted gazes filled with a strange melancholy. In the parlor, a grand piano sat silent, its keys covered in a thick layer of dust. Liam imagined the music that once filled these rooms, now replaced by an unsettling quiet. As he explored further, he stumbled upon a room at the end of a long hallway. The door was locked, the only one he'd encountered so far. It was made of dark, heavy wood, and a strange symbol was etched into its surface. The symbol was unfamiliar, a series of swirling lines that seemed to writhe and shift as Liam stared at them. He felt an inexplicable pull towards the door, a curiosity mixed with a growing sense of dread. He tried the doorknob, but it wouldn't budge. It was locked tight. He leaned closer, pressing his ear against the cold wood, listening for any sound from within. At first, there was only silence, the heavy quiet that permeated the entire house. But then, faintly, he thought he heard something. A whisper, soft and indistinct, like a voice carried on the wind. It seemed to come from the other side of the door, beckoning him closer. Liam stepped back, his heart pounding in his chest. He wasn't sure what he had heard, but it filled him with a sense of unease that he couldn't shake. He considered leaving the room, continuing his exploration of the rest of the house. But the locked door held a strange allure, a mystery that he felt compelled to unravel. He had to know what lay beyond it. He found the key in a dusty drawer in the library. It was heavy, made of tarnished silver, and it fit perfectly into the lock on the door. As he turned the key, he heard a grating click, and the door creaked open slowly. A wave of stale air rushed out, thick with the scent of decay and something else, something unidentifiable but distinctly unpleasant. It was a musty, earthy smell, like that of a disturbed grave. Liam hesitated at the threshold, his hand still on the doorknob. The smell was overpowering, making his stomach churn. He wondered how long the room had been sealed shut, how long the air had remained stagnant, trapped within its walls. The thought sent a shiver down his spine, but he pushed it aside. He'd come this far. He couldn't turn back now. He took a deep breath and stepped inside. The room was small and cramped, barely illuminated by the sliver of light from the hallway. Dust motes danced in the air, illuminated by the faint rays of sunlight that managed to penetrate the grime-covered window. The walls were lined with shelves, stacked with books bound in leather and covered in cobwebs. In the center of the room sat a large wooden desk, its surface cluttered with papers and strange artifacts. Liam took a hesitant step forward, his footsteps muffled by the thick carpet. As his eyes adjusted to the dimness, he started to make out the details of the room. He ran his fingers along the spines of the books, their titles written in languages he didn't recognize. The air grew colder as he moved deeper into the room, and the musty smell intensified, clinging to his clothes and skin like a ghostly embrace. He felt a presence in the room, something unseen watching his every move. It was an unnerving feeling, like being observed by a predator hidden in the shadows. He picked up a book from the shelf, its leather cover cold and damp beneath his touch. The pages were brittle with age, filled with strange diagrams and handwritten notes in a spidery script. Liam couldn't understand the words, but he could sense the power contained within them, the echoes of something ancient and forbidden. He quickly replaced the book on the shelf, a shiver running down his spine. The air in the room seemed to crackle with an unseen energy, and the shadows in the corners seemed to deepen, twisting and writhing like living things. Liam could hear whispers now, faint and indistinct, swirling around him like the rustling of dead leaves. He couldn't make out the words, but the voices sent chills down his spine. They seemed to emanate from the very walls themselves, whispering secrets from beyond the grave. He walked towards the desk, drawn by a strange compulsion. The surface was covered in a jumble of objects, a tarnished silver mirror, a crystal ball filled with swirling mist, a human skull with strange symbols carved into its surface. Each object seemed to pulse with a dark energy, radiating an aura of menace that made Liam's skin crawl. He reached out a trembling hand towards the mirror, his reflection staring back at him, distorted and unfamiliar in the dim light. As he peered into the mirror's depths, he thought he saw something move in the reflection, a flicker of movement, a fleeting glimpse of something that wasn't there a moment before. He blinked, and the image was gone, replaced by his own terrified reflection. Liam stumbled back from the desk, his heart pounding in his chest. He had to leave, to escape the oppressive atmosphere of the room before it drove him mad.